Joining me now from the Delhi studio is Sambit Patra of the BJP and also Nalini Singh, senior journalist. Sambit, if I may come to you, the BJP faces a very tough contest here in Karnataka. This is one state in South India, the gateway to South India as you called it, where the BJP would expect to do well. Last time you won about 19 Lok Sabha seats out of 28. This time with the return of Yeddyurappa, do you think both the arithmetic as well as the chemistry has worked for the party?
No, so yes, definitely. I believe the arithmetic as well as the chemistry would be working for the party. Twofolds. First and foremost, there is a Modi wave across the country and Karnataka is not untouched by this Modi wave. Secondly, after getting a clean sheet from the High Court, the induction of Yeddyurappa into the party has seen to the fact that in fact, he brings along with him the old loyalties that were attached to the party, and surely that is going to transform into the numbers. Thirdly, and very importantly, in fact, there is a lot of controversy within the Congress itself. Let me remind you of the fact, though the Congress government, incumbent Congress government there is a new one, but still about 25 MLAs had written a letter to the High Command of the Congress that they are not happy with the functioning of Mr. Siddaramaiah, and they would like to see a change of the Chief Minister there. So definitely it speaks that there is some kind of friction and fractionalism within the Congress quarters also, but the BJP in fact is with a renewed vigor, and we are surely going to retain what we had last time.
Right, Sambit, just a short question. Would the party be looking at this election in Karnataka as a referendum on the performance of the Siddaramaiah government, which is just about 10 months in power here?
Definitely not. I believe it would be a referendum on the national scenario, a referendum on how the Modi wave. In fact, the people have been talking about Mr. Narendra Modi's developmental agendas, and right now you were talking to a youngster and she pointed out to the fact that they would rather be reflecting on who can best lead this country from the center. And I believe the people of Karnataka are an educated lot, enlightened ones, and surely rising above the petty constituency needs, they would surely look into a national scenario over here.
Right. Thanks a lot for joining us with that perspective. In fact, Aam Aadmi Party is also in the fray, and one of its high-profile candidates is former CFO of Infosys V. Balakrishnan, who is contesting from the Bangalore Central seat. He spoke to my colleague Pratibha Raman just a while ago.
Right, I have with me Mr. Balakrishnan, who has just cast his vote today, sir. From dunning a corporate honcho avatar to now a political avatar, you've come and cast your vote. How different has the feeling been?
No, it's a totally different world altogether. It's like comparing Moon and Mars. So in a corporate world, you have a defined set of stakeholders. You know, as long as you take care of their interests, you are true. In a political world, these complexities are bigger, scale is bigger, and every other person can be your stakeholder. It's a different world altogether, but I am enjoying my stint here. We went to most part of the constituency. We explained to people what we can do. And we told them you have to make a choice between three people. One is the absentee MP, second is a person, a candidate who went with a rowdy sheeter on a campaign, and third is a honest, clean candidate without any criminal case against him. I think people will make the wise choice.
Also,
let me now go across to Ms. Nalini Singh in our Delhi studio. Ms. Singh, one of the things that is spoken of outside Delhi is that while it was good for Aam Aadmi Party to taste success in Delhi within Arvind Kejriwal and company, it is very important to discover many more Kejriwals in the rest of the country. For instance, you need a Karnataka Arvind Kejriwal to be able to gain further ground, gain traction in a Karnataka, in a Bangalore. Would you agree with that perspective?
Yes, of course. I think that any third party, third alternative that's coming up will obviously try the waters everywhere, as it should. And here the CFO of Infosys, no less, is the central Bangalore candidate. But you know, here, just for this constituency, let's not forget that Rahul Gandhi replaced C.K. Jaffer Sharif, who had been there for a very long time, and it's Rahul Gandhi's hand-picked choice that the AAP candidate Mr. Balakrishnan is against. And in fact, C.K. Jaffer Sharif has then left the Congress in a huff. And probably will join the JDS. But you know, I would just say that for me, sitting in Delhi, this Karnataka election is also very critical for one particular thing. Another alternative had come up, which is the JDS. Now, unless the JDS gets, let's say 3 to 4 to 5 Lok Sabha seats, its political future has a huge question mark on it. And you know, you have said already that Kumaraswamy and Yeddyurappa Moily are locked in an extremely difficult battle. There are other little battles going on, but I think the major one here is the one for JDS's survival. And of course, it is critical for Siddaramaiah and his chief ministership to deliver to the Congress party, and it's equally critical for the BJP to retrieve the ground it lost with the Yeddyurappa's departure.
Absolutely.
Now with his arrival, is he just in Shimoga because he's got such a hugely important adversary in the daughter-in-law of Rajkumar and Bangarappa's daughter, and so is he locked there? Are the Lingayat votes coming? And I just want one more question. You know, we were talking about Nandan Nilekani and Ananthakumar's constituency as a kind of model metro constituency. I need to know, there are 5 lakh Vokalinga votes there as far as I know. Could be wrong. Are those going to affect the way people vote, or are people so so metropolitan in their outlook that they're just looking at whether it's a PM that they're selecting, Prime Minister, or is it the MP that they're selecting?
Right. In fact, yes, that's going to be one of the crucial contests that is being looked at very, very closely. Bangalore South featuring Nandan Nilekani versus Anant Kumar. Anant Kumar, very, very importantly, not pitching himself in the race. He's talking about electing himself so that Narendra Modi could become the next Prime Minister. Perhaps some kind of an admission of nervousness. And in fact, Nandan Nilekani's team has been talking to voters, reminding people that Anant Kumar also featured in that list put out by Arvind Kejriwal. Let's see how the stakes are even out in Bangalore South Lok Sabha constituency.
Bangalore South is witnessing a prestige fight between 58-year-old IT bigwig Nandan Nilekani, India's richest candidate, and 54-year-old Anant Kumar, whose wife is 8 times richer than he is. Can Nilekani hope to log out Kumar, who has coasted to a record 5 victories from this seat? The social algorithm has been delivering in favor of Nilekani, whose campaign manager is a former Google employee. But Kumar and Nilekani's back office teams have been functioning 24/7 in the real and virtual world to deliver their message of change. Bangalore South has been ill-disposed towards the Congress party since the 1970s, barring 1989. Nilekani is eyeing the urban professionals in the holy land of India's IT revolution. Anant Kumar, the apparent political heavyweight, is projecting it to be a national battle. One being fought between Rahul Gandhi and Narendra Modi, and both made appearances in Bangalore in favor of their candidates. Nandan Nilekani's talking point is local issues, while Anant Kumar hopes for a smooth ride on the much-touted Modi wave. While Nilekani is projecting himself as a people's candidate owing to his humble roots, Kumar is promising world city status. Technocrat Nilekani was para-dropped in the constituency, while his shrinking victory margin in the last 2 elections is a cause of concern for Kumar. Anant is charged with being inaccessible, while Nilekani's outreach heavily relies on the digital. While Nilekani has made an effort to learn a smattering of Kannada, Kumar even tweets in the local language. But remember, only an estimated 30% of the city's population are Kannadikas.
Of the 28 Lok Sabha constituencies in Karnataka, the keenly contested one will be the Bangalore South constituency. Nandan Nilekani has created a stir not just in the virtual world but also in the real world, and will not go down without giving a tough fight. Being a Brahmin himself, he is likely to cut into the votes of this community, which form a sizable chunk of this constituency. And this will be the traditional vote bank that Anant Kumar would have banked on for a comfortable win. But it is a 2.14 lakh voters which will be the deciding factor at these elections. So the question is, will Anant Kumar manage a double hat-trick?
With Rohini Swami, Bureau Report, Headlines Today.